everyone, it's I, Sophia. I feel like I look super bright. Okay. Hey everyone, it's I, Sophia Sounds, and I don't even know how to start this video. Many of you have been asking me, especially in my DMs, when am I coming out with new music? What happened to you? Why did you disappear? For the past couple of years, I disappeared from music. And today, I want to tell you why. I want to tell you my story. Music has been with me as long as I can remember. I started singing at such a young age. In fact, before I can even really talk, I loved music. Like, there were stories where as a baby, I would be in the car seat and they'll play a song and I'll be in the back there like jamming and dancing, you know, and music has just been my best friend, like growing up. It wasn't just something that I did, it was who I was. I got my singing from my father. My father has and still has such a beautiful voice, and in fact, I am the only child that actually decided to pursue that side. Mind you, I have a lot of sisters, and at the time, my dad only had girls, right? And I was the second child. And growing up, I used to always see my father. I used to always hear him, you know, sing, and it wasn't just normal singing. I grew up Muslim, so I used to always hear my father reading the Quran, singing Nasheeda and all of that, and it was just beautiful. Like, I remember there was this one song that he used to sing, but it was in Swahili. It was like, Hayya, hayya, ya Jama, hayya, hayya, ya Jama, tumsifuni, Muhammad, tumsifuni, Muhammad. It was something like that. I may be even singing it wrong. It was getting me emotional too. But I used to hear him sing that. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I grew up hearing him sing, watching him perform. I remember I even opened a YouTube channel for him because I used to admire him so much. And so my father seen that I loved music, and so he was like, my daughter here, she loves music a lot, and before I have her sing, you know, in the club somewhere, I'd rather her sing with me. And so he started teaching me and my little sisters, but they just were not interested. He started teaching me how to sing Nasheeda. And if you don't know what Nasheeda is like, think of gospel music, but the Islamic version. And so I grew up singing that. A lot of people, you know, grew up starting off in church. I grew up singing with him at the mosques and different events, Islamic events. And at the time, my dad had like a boy band, a boy group. And all the guys in the group, they were young as well. They were from Kenya, and they were, when I tell you a family that can sing, like, beautiful. And I was the only girl. I was the only girl in that group, and I remember we used to go out and perform, and we used to do practices together, and it was a lot of fun. Growing up, I cherish those memories. And then I started performing with my father, and you know, in Islam, as a woman, you're not allowed to show yourself. Like, you have to be behind the scenes. You gotta stay covered. Mind you, I was covered when I was performing. I sat right next to my father, but people complained. A lot of men complained, and they were like, your daughter, like, this is haram, this is not right, she shouldn't be singing. And my father was like, listen, I'd rather my daughter be singing these types of songs with me as her father. You know, me as her father, I'm allowing her to do this. I'm her father. She's sitting right next to me, you know. But eventually, I realized as a kid that it started to kind of like eat at him a little bit. And so I always felt like to him I wasn't enough, because he always wanted a son. He wanted a son that was doing everything that I was doing when it comes to the love of singing and, you know, learning nasheeda and all these Islamic things. He wanted a son that could be an imam, that can, you know, have the most beautiful voice, you know, and I just wasn't it. I tried to be it for a certain period, and I realized that I'll never be that. So I started to step back from it, and I just let him and the guys do it. And from there, I felt bad, but I was just like, I don't want to hinder, you know, his spiritual journey and what he's trying to do because of me. So I stepped away from that, and I then started my own journey of music, and I eventually got into secular music. You know, growing up in high school, I ended up opening up a YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a cover with
Tim and Jerry.
We're going to be singing a Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you have any requests, comment below. We clawed, we chained our hearts in vain. We jumped, never asking why. We kissed, I fell under your spell. A love no one can deny.
Don't you ever say I just walked away. I will always want you. I can't live a lie, running for my life. I will always.
And I used to sing in the house. Sometimes it would just be me and the camera, no microphone. You know, in school, I was all about music. I wanted to open up a glee club. I wanted to, like, anything with music or just creating in general. I was just in love with that side of me. Like, I didn't care about the views. I didn't care about anybody. I was just doing it for me. And it was crazy because a couple weeks ago, actually about a month ago, I found that YouTube channel, and when I watched it, I cried. I got emotional because seeing the small version of me just singing just because it was something that I love to do, and seeing where I am now with music, it just broke me. World seems so cool, and your heart makes you feel like a fool. I promise you will see that I will be remedy. You know, I remember there was a point in time that I was underage, but I used to go to the bars, and these bars would have karaoke nights, and I think it was like every Thursday night, and I would go. And now I didn't look underage, so it never was an issue. So I used to go there and sing. Now the DJ, it was a woman, and she knew that I was underage, but it was a secret between us. And so I used to go there and sing, and from there I had opportunities where people were like, you know, you sing so well, like, why don't you come and perform at some weddings? Why don't you do this? Let's get in the studio, let's do that, let's do this. And I was just underage, but no one knew. And so I couldn't disclose that, you know, but I just went there for the love of singing. I was chasing opportunities from Connecticut all the way to New York. I remember I would take the train to New York by myself in the winter cold to get into the studio and sing. Mind you, I would pay for these trips on my own and go. Eventually, about a year before COVID, I ended up going online saying that I was looking for a producer in Connecticut. Mind you, Connecticut is where I'm from, where I was born. So someone responded saying, hey, I'm a producer. My studio's in my house, we can get you in there and recording. We produce, we can record. I said, okay, sure. At the time I was working at Starbucks, and my little paychecks, I used it. And I went to the music studio. And I didn't tell my parents this, I didn't tell my mom this, but I went to the music studio at their house and I would sing. And I ended up recording one song. It's called What I Want. And I was so proud. Until today, I'm so proud of that one record. I did it on my own, and I was just so excited. I was so proud of myself, and I was just like, yeah. So I then contacted the guys that I worked with on that song. I said, hey, when is your next availability? Like, I have the money. Mind you, this wasn't for free. It was a paid service. And so they were like, yeah, sure. We'd book appointments to go to record recording sessions, and they wouldn't show up. They wouldn't even be professional about reaching back out and saying, hey, I'm sorry, I can't make it, or can we reschedule? Nothing. And so then I didn't give up on music, but I was just like, nah, I need to, like, maybe these are just not the right people. Like, I was in Delulu. I was like, this is not the right people. I'm gonna go find the right people to work with. So then COVID hit. And I remember when COVID hit, the whole world was in chaos. But I was at peace. I was in my most creative self. At that time, I had just moved out to my first apartment, and I just felt so free, And then I remember I went online and I started searching for producers, and I came across this one talented producer in Nigeria. His name is Kali Magic. If you don't know who he is, make sure you guys check him out. He has a huge YouTube channel. He makes beats, and he's an artist himself. And I remember I connected with him, and I had leased a beat from him for one song that I wanted to record, and I was so happy. And so then him and I, we kept in connection till today. We're still connected. But then I remember I posted on my Instagram story, hey guys, I'm looking for a producer, an Afrobeat producer, somebody that I can work with. And I was then referred, a couple of people, but one producer, I ended up following him, and he followed me back, and we started working. We started recording music. We recorded a lot of great songs. In fact, one of the songs that you see is on my page, Jara. And I just learned a lot. I learned a lot in that process of, recording these songs and all. But then that person ended up creating a label and was like, I want to sign you. And at that time, I was naive. I was young. And after seeing all the great things that we worked on, I was like, why not? Why not? Why not sign? Like, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. Like, we have tracks that will blow. Like, if we would put it out there, it's gonna blow. Like, people are gonna vibe with it. Like, we will go places. I truly believed in the team that I was working with, from the producers to the writers to the everyone. Like, I truly believed in what we were trying to do. And so before signing, everything was fine. But once I put my pen to that paper and signed it, everything changed. I realized that I made a huge mistake. Once I signed those papers, I then realized that the label didn't respect me. didn't respect me as an artist. In fact, they used me as a puppet. They used my Instagram page. Mind you, I had access to my Instagram page. So did the label owner, to be specific. He had access to my Instagram page too. And so I would do covers, I would make content, and he would promote these contents, promote the cover. In fact, use my videos on other people's pages to make other people's pages blow and gain followers. Use my voice, my face, not only on my page, of course, but also on other people's pages to gain attraction and gain opportunities. Now, when those opportunities came my way, he would take those opportunities and use it for himself, use it for other artists. And that's when I started realizing that, something is off here. What's the vision? Like, where are we going? And I started questioning a lot of things. You know, I had opportunities where investors wanted to work with me, and out of respect of my label, I would say, hey, you know, thank you for reaching out. You know, I am signed to this label. You know, talk to the label owner. You know, mind you, at that time, I didn't know anything about the music industry. All I knew was that I was signed to a team, and therefore my loyalty is to that team and the people that I'm working with. And so when I send these investors and these people who wanted to work with me, like all these opportunities towards my label, they would take those opportunities and either mess them up and be unprofessional, or take those opportunities and give it to someone else, or use it for themselves and not regard me at all. While being signed, I just felt pressured. I felt trapped. I felt like I couldn't, like anything I said or any complaints that I had, they would make me sound like I'm ungrateful. They would make me feel like I wouldn't be who I am without them. Like as though they just grabbed me from one dumpster somewhere and molded me to who I am and created this voice that I have today. When in reality, my voice was just a gift from God. And I felt trapped. I felt so trapped. I tried my best to have a conversation with the label owner and was like, listen, let's focus on the music only. Let's put our differences aside and let's focus on the music. And a lot went on that I can't really speak about, but it got really bad to the point that I had to get lawyers involved. I had to, seek counsel from other people. Like, it got really bad, and the safest option that I had was just to leave music alone. I began to see the truth. Leaving music felt like I was ending a relationship with my first love. It was heartbreaking. I had to say goodbye to something that defined me. And so I finally walked away. I walked away from my own safety, from my own peace of mind, and to protect the gift that God gave me. 3 years, I've remained quiet. I would occasionally post here and there, some covers, pictures, small content here and there, just to keep the spark alive and not completely lose that side of me. And if I'm being honest, for the past 3 years, because it's been 3 years since I've released music, I've been afraid. I was scared. I was afraid of speaking up. I was afraid of being judged. And of course, I was afraid of repeating the same mistakes over again. I didn't want to be a victim. I didn't want to be another artist that comes out years later saying that her label or the label owner took advantage of her. As you can see today, you hear stories of artists like Ashanti, artists like Cassie, or even artists like Mobad, and how labels, signing with the wrong label will really ruin your future. I didn't want to be exploited by the industry, which is why I left. So now I'm here and I'm ready to reclaim my voice. But it's been such a long time, I've lost sense of my creativity. So I'm in the era of rediscovering that side of me again. Rediscovering what music truly means to me. Not as a product, not as a commodity, but more of a language to my soul. I'm choosing to create my creative life on my own terms. I'm not rushing back into the industry that broke me. Instead, I'm creating a new path. I'm recreating my story as an artist. And through this process, I'm going to be in a journey of healing. And I know this is something that I can do on my own and not document it, but I want to document this because I know way too many artists that have been victims of this, you know, especially in this industry. Whether you're a man or a woman, you know, you can always be a victim in this type of industry. As a woman, as a beautiful woman at that, this industry is just it's just full of men that are looking for ways to take advantage of you. So I decided that I am actively going to make up with my first love, music. Music is my first love and has always been. I've decided that I'm going to trust my inner artist and honor my journey, even the painful parts. Now, if you ever had to walk away from something that you love, regardless if it's music or whatever it is, to protect yourself, or if you're searching for your own voice, I hope that my story speaks to you. This isn't just about music, this is about reclaiming who I have always meant to be. So I'm inviting you to join me in this discovery. There's a lot that I know I have to unpack, but this is just the beginning. And I need to make a huge shout out, of course, to this book, The Real Artist, The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity, a course in discovering and recovering your creative self. This is what pushed me. Mind you, I only read the first chapter, so I'm really excited to see who I end up becoming at the end of this. Yeah, but this is my story. And I want to also say thank you to everyone who has been following me ever since. Those that check on me, those that, you know, just those that have been supporting me from the beginning. I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, this is just the beginning. If you haven't subscribed, of course, subscribe for more. And if it's your first time watching, thank you for watching. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. Yeah, what did they say? Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all of it. do it all. Anyways, yeah, thank you for listening.